Welcome everyone to a game I've been extremely excited to play. This is The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, a game that is near and dear to my heart, as it is, I'm sure, for many people who grew up in the, early to, late 90s, early 2000s. I'm sure many people have played this game, have told you that, hey, it's phenomenal and one of the best ever made. And frankly, I'm kind of in agreement. This game did so many things right, and frankly, I can't harp on it for many things. It's a game I love, and man, I've been excited to finally let's play it. So, let's jump in. That file select theme. Now, as you can see, I already have all three of the files filled up. This second file here was one that I actually did with my sister a while ago. It was a very fun playthrough, showing her the game for the first time. And this one, ZZ1. I don't know why it was named that, but I do know that this is my file from when I was about 3 or 4. So yeah, I've been playing this game for a very long time. Now, obviously, in order to play the game, we're going to need to get rid of one of these, so we'll get rid of the first one. Very good. And otherwise, we have some options, interestingly. We can choose our sound settings from stereo, mono, headset, and surround. Interesting that the game had a headset setting for an N64 home console game. It also has Z targeting set to switch versus hold. We'll just leave it on switch. And otherwise, there's the classic brightness check. So, we need to name our character. Now, for anyone who's played The Legend of Zelda, you know who you play as. But, for those who have never seen The Legend of Zelda, the main character's name is Link. He's a pretty famous Nintendo character at this point. I'd say quite up there with, say, Mario, Kirby, even Samus from Metroid. A lot of people know who Link is, so that's the name we'll be going with. We have 0 deaths, start with 3 hearts. Looks good to me.
In the vast, deep forest of Hyrule, long have I served as the guardian spirit. I am known as the Deku Tree. The children of the forest, the Kokiri, live here with me. Each Kokiri has his or her own guardian fairy. However, there is one boy who does not have a fairy. Navi, Navi, where art thou? Come hither. Ah, Navi the fairy, listen to my words, the words of the Deku Tree. Dost thou sense it, the climate of evil descending upon this realm? Malevolent forces even now are mustering to attack our land of Hyrule. For so long, the Kokiri Forest, the source of life, has stood as a barrier deterring outsiders and maintaining the order of the world. But before this tremendous evil power, even my power is as nothing. It seems the time has come for the boy without a fairy to begin his journey. The youth whose destiny it is to lead Hyrule to the path of justice and truth. Navi, go now, find our young friend and guide him to me. I do not have much time left. Fly, Navi, fly. The fate of the forest, nay, the world depends upon thee.
Hello, Link. Wake up. The Great Deku Tree wants to talk to you. Link, get up. Hey, come on. Can Hyrule's destiny really depend on such a lazy boy? You finally woke up. I'm Navi, the fairy. The Great Deku Tree asked me to be your partner from now on. Nice to meet you. The Great Deku Tree has summoned you, so let's get going, right now. Alright, sounds good to us. And here, we finally gain control of Link. Now, a big thing. This is obviously an N64 game, so the resolution isn't exactly going to look great because I'm playing this on actual hardware. So, my apologies if things are a little hard to look at. Still, I'm sure that you'll fall in love with this game all the same. So, let's get going. The Kokiri Forest. Yahoo! Hi, Link! Huh. Well, hey there, gal. How's it going? Wow, a fairy! Finally, a fairy came to you, Link. Wow, that's great news. I'm so happy for you. Now you're true Kokiri, Link. Is that right? The Great Deku Tree has summoned you? It's quite an honor to talk to the Great Deku Tree. I'll wait for you here. Get going. Go see the Great Deku Tree. Thanks, Saria. We appreciate you. So, some basic controls. You move the control stick to move Link around, and obviously, you have a whole bunch of different buttons you can press. What I did up there is I held the Z button to target. Using that, you can move forward and back pretty normally, but you instead strafe left and right rather than turning and moving that way. I also held back and pressed the A button to do a backflip. You can also press A while moving in a direction and roll. It's a pretty nice maneuver. Otherwise, as you can see, if we take our sweet time, Navi here will start to yell at us. The Great Deku Tree has summoned you. Please come with me. So yeah, she is basically your hint system and your reminder of what you're doing. She also can help you identify things, too. Generally speaking, enemies. Now, when you hold the Z button, Navi will help you target things. Very useful. We'll be using that all throughout the game. Still, let's get moving, shall we? Now, if the map's anything to go off of down there in the bottom right, we need to go to that giant clearing where it looks like a huge tree is. Still, there are a ton of signs and things for you to learn here before you go there. So, let's actually go back to Link's house and take a look. Link's house. Thank you. Very informative. Still, trust me, there are all sorts of things all over the place that are going to tell us what we need to do. So, as you see signs and see people, talk to them. Hey there.
That beady Bido made me cut the grass at Saria's house. Bido told Saria he would do it so she would like him, but I'm the one doing all the work. You and Saria are close friends, so will you help me cut the grass? I'll let you keep anything that you find while cutting it.
Well, Although we don't have a great way of cutting it, we can't really do anything right now. So we'll have to come back once we find a way to do that. And what's this? Just ahead, Great Deku Tree's meadow. Hey, that sounds just like what we're looking for. Let's head on in. Huh? Excuse me. Pardon? Trying to get through? I guess no cigar. So, what's your deal, huh?
Hey you, Mr. No Fairy, what's your business with the Great Deku Tree? Without a fairy, you're not even a real man. What? You got a fairy? Say what? The Great Deku Tree actually summoned you? What? Why would he summon you and not the Great Mido? This isn't funny. I don't believe it. You aren't even fully equipped yet. How do you think you're going to help the Great Deku Tree without both a sword and a shield ready? What? You're right. I don't have my equipment ready, but if you want to pass through here, you should at least equip a sword and a shield. Sheesh.
Alright. Well, turns out our first objective, although it should be meeting the Great Deku Tree, is actually finding a sword and shield, which is what the whole of Kokiri Forest is basically custom built for. It's your tutorial. Otherwise, House of the Twins. Anything inside? Well, they have a jar. We can pick it up with A and throw it, and we get 1 rupee. Very nice. We'll be seeing a whole bunch of those throughout the game. Ooh, even better, a blue rupee. And, how's it going?
My sister took some rupees and went shopping at the store that has a red roof. Teehee. Speaking of rupees, a green one is worth 1, a blue one is worth 5, and a red one is worth 20.
Well, thanks for explaining that. Saves me the trouble. Otherwise, let's keep looking around. Obviously, we can't cut the grass yet, but we can lift small stones. Throwing and breaking it doesn't have anything inside, but some stones will, so it's worth your time checking. Otherwise, what's here? Saria's house. Ah, anything cool inside? A whole bunch of hearts. Very useful if you need some quick recovery. Still, it's probably nothing we need right now, so, oh well. Otherwise, looks to be a bridge up this way, so let's head on up. Now, something nice is that the camera usually follows you pretty darn well in this game, though if you ever need to adjust it, you can always do so by pressing the Z trigger and moving around. Depending on the version of the game, you may or may not have a Z trigger, so usually it's one of the shoulder buttons. Otherwise, movement's pretty darn simple. Now, I will say, for anyone who's never played this game on an actual N64 controller, it's very evident that this control scheme was made for it. So, if you struggle with any point, well, that might be why. Otherwise, hey there.
You came all the way up here? You're a real man. Look, isn't this view pretty? Change your viewpoint with up on the D-pad so you can look around the forest with the control stick.
Hey, not a bad piece of advice. You ever need to look at something? Press up on the D-pad and, well, you can take a nice look up close. It's pretty nice, and it'll help you see a lot of things you otherwise may not have thought to look at, including, people's faces up close, and rupees. Very useful. It's also, again, the button that Navi will call you on, so if you're trying to look at something and she really wants your attention, it might conflict a bit. Still, just listen to her, and it'll be fine. Otherwise, hey there.
Oh, you have a fairy now? That's great, Link. What? You've been called by the Great Deku Tree? What an honor. He may give you a special gift. Teehee. That's because the Great Deku Tree is our father, the Forest Guardian, and he gave life to all of us Kokiri.
Well, sounds like a splendid guy. Otherwise, we're running around in the bushes. We can get some money. Very nice. Ooh, look at all these rocks. How's it going?
The A button by the stone, pick it up. A button by the stone, pick it up. Mean old Mido, he made me pick up the rocks in front of his house.
Seems like this Mido character ain't exactly a great fella. Still, let's help our pal out here and throw some rocks and get some money. Very useful. Sometimes even a whole batch of rupees. Very nice. Now, one thing I will say about our a humble little playthrough of this game. Ocarina of Time has been taken apart, picked over, and basically licked clean by all sorts of folks throughout the years. From speedrunners to people who have literally taken the game apart down to its very code and core. I'm no speedrunner, and I'm not the best at this game, but it's still a game that I love and is near and dear to my heart. So it would be criminal for me to ignore the game just because I can't perform every little special trick that, say, as someone who knows how to break the game can. Still, if you ever want to see high-level play, this game's got a ton of it. Ooh, what's this? The Lost Woods. Well, although we could go in there, there's nothing there for us yet, so we'll be going there later. There's also stone up there, but wasn't really much we could do with it. Now, most people move a little bit faster in this game by using the roll action. And to be honest, it is a decently quick way to get around. However, one trick that I will be using, that was discovered generally by speedrunners, is that walking backwards is extremely fast for whatever reason. My guess is that they did this so that way if you were in combat, you had a way to get away from enemies really quickly, but turns out, it's also just really great for getting around fast, so we'll be using it in a couple places throughout the game. I don't think I'll be spending the entire game making Link walk backwards or anything, but it's certainly something you can do if you're trying to get somewhere specific really quick and you don't have a better way of doing it. Otherwise, what's this? Stepping stones in the pond. If you boldly go in the direction you want to jump, you will leap automatically. If you hop around on the stones, you'll become happier. Basically telling you that if you do all of the jumps without missing, you'll get some money. It's only the first time you enter the area that you'll get it, but hey, it is a nice little thing. Otherwise, what's this? Kokiri shop? We have original forest goods. Sounds great.
Hi, Link. Look this way. Look over here with Z and talk to me with A.
I've been doing this already, but if you hold Z, you can target something and use specific actions, such as speak.
Yes, that's how you use a fairy. It's so great that you finally have a fairy partner. I'll teach you how to talk to people using your fairy. When a fairy flies near a person or thing, press Z to look in that direction.
This is also known as Z targeting.
If you use Z targeting, you can talk to people from a distance, like we're doing now.
See? I beat her to the punch.
When you have nothing that you can target, you can press Z just to look forward. Try it!
Which, that's another thing I've already been doing. It's quite nice. You can also always tell whenever you are Z targeting because you'll get letterbox cropping, which is a nice indication. It even works when you're targeting someone, so pay attention. The other nice thing, when you Z-target something, you don't have to hold the trigger. This is an option, as you may have seen, but I like to keep it so that way I don't have to hold it, so my finger doesn't get tired. I kind of instinctively hold it anyways, but I figured I'd bring it up. So, what's in the shop? Hey there.
This shop, it sells things you can get in the forest for free. Teehee. Do you know how to use the Deku shield? Teehee. When you get the shield, press start to get into the subscreens. Select the equipment subscreen with Z or R. On the equipment subscreen, choose the item you want to equip and press A to equip that item. Once you equip it, hold it up with R and change its angle with the stick. Teehee.
So yeah, if we press start, we can open up the main screen of the game. Here we have the map screen, which shows us our current position, the Kokiri Forest. Very useful. If we press Z, we can see the select item screen, which has all sorts of goodies that we'll be collecting throughout our adventure. Press Z again, we have the equipment screen, which shows Link and everything he has. He has the Kokiri tunic and the Kokiri boots. Your stock standard gear. Very nice. And then we have the quest status screen. This is more or less your in-game checklist of how you're doing. On the left there, you have a set of things that you'll be collecting throughout the game. We have a heart-shaped crevice there, and then on the right, we have 6 different symbols surrounding 3 triangles. Interesting. Below that, we have 3 little, I guess, also crevices. And to the left of that, we evidently have a music stand with a whole bunch of different notes. We'll be filling those in throughout the game. Now, another nice thing. If you open the screen, press B, you can save the game. Very useful. Otherwise, hey there, guy.
Oh, welcome. Shop around by moving the stick left or right.
You can also talk to the owner.
We sell shields, but not swords.
Well, that's not that helpful. So, you can buy Deku seeds, 30 pieces for 30 rupees. You can use them as bullets for your slingshot. You can't buy them unless you have a slingshot. Well, good to know. There's also arrows. You need a bow to shoot them, but you can't buy them unless you have a bow. So, there's nothing here we can get. Though, we could buy a recovery heart. It'll instantly refill one heart container. Very convenient. Now, Deku Nuts. 5 pieces for 15 rupees. Throw them to stun your enemies. You can carry only a limited amount of them. These are an extremely useful item, and let me tell you, I'll be making sure to keep plenty of these on me throughout the game. Then there's also the Mighty Deku Stick. 1 piece for 10 rupees. A long branch gathered from the Great Deku Tree. You can use it as a weapon, but it will break. I'll get into why this is a great item, but for now, we won't bother. Otherwise, the thing we're actually after is the Deku Shield. It's a whopping 40 rupees though, so we're a little short. Still, once equipped, you can defend with R. If set on fire, it will burn. So, you gotta be careful. Still, once we have the money, we'll be back. And wouldn't you know, there's a perfect place for us to gain money. This is also one of the few situations where it's probably quicker for us to walk backward toward what we want to do. Again, it looks a little goofy and it might disorient you, but it is faster. Otherwise, let's take a look here. Forest Training Center. Don't recklessly cut signs. Read them carefully. Well, sounds like the kind of place you'd find a sword. But first, what's over this fence and in this home? If I can read the sign. House of the Know-It-All Brothers. Well, that sounds useful. Maybe they have some good info. Hey there.
I can teach you about the icons at the top of the screen.
Sure, why not? About the yellow icons.
The 3 yellow icons at the upper right are called C button icons. They display the things you could use with the left, down, and right C buttons. Once you get a C button item, go into the select item subscreen and set it to one of the 3 C buttons.
Alright, pretty good. And what about you?
Do you want to know how to use the up button?
Sure.
If you press up, you can change your view. In a place like this, it will switch to a top-down view. Outdoors, in a field for example, it will switch to a first-person perspective. Also, when Navi is displayed in the upper right of your screen, Navi the fairy wants to talk to you. Use the up C button to listen to her.
And let me guess, something I've already explained?
If you want to learn about the map and items, just ask me, but don't ask unless you want to hear a long explanation. What do you want to know about?
Well, given the long explanation part, let's just hear about the map.
There's a map displayed at the bottom right of the screen. The yellow arrow shows your current position and direction you are facing. The red mark shows where you entered the area from. You can turn the map display on and off with the L button. If you want to see the name of a place, press start. You'll get into the subscreens. Select the map subscreen. On the map subscreen, you can see a map of Hyrule. Did you get all that?
Yes, we did. Thank you, pal. Evidently, these guys explain all the basics of the game. Pretty useful if you really don't know what you're doing. Still, this game is really very intuitive, and the other thing that helps is that all of the face buttons are color-coded to the actual N64 controller. So, it's really easy. Otherwise, what do we have here? Thrust attack signs. What a lovely angle. To thrust with your sword, press the stick forward, or press the stick toward your target, while Z targeting, then press B. Generally, it will be pressing it forward, but you never know. Otherwise, what about you? Cut grass with your sword. If you just swing with B, you'll cut horizontally. If you hold Z as you swing, you'll cut vertically. So, If you hold the Z targeting, you'll cut vertically. If you don't hold it, you'll cut horizontally. And if you're targeting something and pressing the stick toward them, you'll do a stab toward them. This is all very useful, and a lot of people don't really remember these rules. It's a lot more intuitive than it seems, so don't worry too much, but different cuts are for different purposes. And, hey there, how's it going? Hey, let's work on some moves. To jump sideways while Z targeting, press the A button as you move right or left. To do a backflip while Z targeting, press A as you move backwards. To do a roll attack with Z targeting, press A as you move forward. While you roll, you can avoid damage. If you have your sword ready while Z targeting, you can do a jump attack by pressing the A button. A jump attack does double damage. You can use Z targeting on the stone next to me, so let's practice. Sure, sounds good to me. So, left and right, you can move around very quickly. Like, Link is a surprisingly agile little fella. Never discount this. This is going to be your bread and butter combat. And as you can see, for doing all the things he described to you, you'll get some money. Very useful. And, what's this? Switch targeting. If you see a green arrow icon above an object, you can target it with Z. In other words, if you press Z when you see the green arrow above an object, you can lock onto it. If you press Z again, the lock will either release or it will transfer to the next object with a green arrow above it. When you have many enemies in your field of view and you want to escape, press Z while holding back on the control stick to cancel targeting. You can target the stones next to the sign for practice. Sure. So, for instance, you do this, and then simply press Z toward whichever thing is next. It's fairly easy. You want to be done? Hold back, press Z. Nothing to it. This is another system that a lot of people can end up struggling with if you don't know how to do this. So, it's good to practice. Otherwise, what's this? Hole of Z. Let's go through this small hole. Stand in front of the hole and push the stick towards it. When the action icon shows enter, press A to crawl into the hole. Pay attention to what the action icon says, which, generally speaking, that is the A button up there that keeps flashing and changing. It's nice. Think of context-sensitive buttons. It's pretty useful. So let's crawl on through and see what's inside. Hopefully something nice. And here's one of the many fixed camera angle points. There's not a ton of them, but usually, once it's done, you can just look around normally. Pretty easy. Ooh, $5. Very nice. Hello, Mr. Sign. What info have you for us? Viewpoint with Z targeting. When you have no object to look at, you can just look forward with Z. Stop moving and then change the direction you're facing or hold Z for a little while. This can help you get oriented in the direction you want to face. It's quite convenient. If you hold down Z, you can walk sideways while facing straight ahead. Walking sideways can be a very important technique in dungeon corridors. Turn around and try doing this right now. So what the game is trying to tell you here is, say that there's this corner that we can't see around. Well, if we face the wall and Z target, suddenly we can peek around the corner a little more than we could have otherwise done earlier. It's a pretty useful technique. Still, coast looks clear. And, ooh, $5 more. Very convenient. And, ooh, what's this? Visit the house of the Know-It-All Brothers to get answers to all your item-related questions. Thank you. Still, here's the first treasure chest of so many. We get the Kokiri sword. On the equipment subscreen, select it with the cursor and equip it with A. This is a hidden treasure of the Kokiri, but you can borrow it for a while. Be sure to practice with it before you really fight. Well, luckily, we already did that. So yeah, by doing this nice little tutorial, you receive the Kokiri sword. Link's pretty much only sword for a while. Still, it gets the job done. And let me tell you, we'll be using it for quite some time, even well into the end of the game. Now, one big thing that is interesting about Link, very specifically, he's left-handed. So, it might be a little weird for us righties, but it doesn't really change combat all that much. Frankly, it kind of gives him some personality. Here we can see all the different stabbing techniques. Very useful. And although we don't have a shield, there's actually another technique we can do with that. So, let's stand still for a moment, put away our sword, and go buy a shield, seeing as we have plenty of money now. Of course, on the way there, hop across some stones, hopefully gain a little bit more money. Hey, very nice. Oh, shopkeep, I would like your finest Deku shield, please. Thank you very much. We got the Deku shield. Switch to the equipment subscreen, select the shield, press A to equip it. Press R to crouch and defend. If you press R while Z targeting, you can move while defending. Very useful. So, let's throw it on. Ah, now that's looking proper. So, the other move they never told you about. If you stand still and guard, you can poke with it from behind the shield. This is a fairly quick attack, and frankly, it keeps you defended while being able to attack. It may not seem like the most useful thing, but trust me, it's pretty darn good. Otherwise, we have a sword and a shield, and we've learned all the basics. So, let's go say hey to Mido. Hey there, guy.
If you want to see the Great Deku Tree, you should at least equip a sword and a shield. What's that? Oh, you have a Deku shield. And what's that? Is that the Kokiri sword? Good grief. Well, even with all that stuff, a whip is still a whip, huh? I, the Great Mido, will never accept you as one of us. Shoot, how did you get to be the favorite of Saria and the Great Deku Tree, huh?
Well, a bit of a sore loser, but at the same time, I understand being overshadowed there, pal. So, I feel for you. Still, I think this is gonna do it for our first episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Next time we continue our journey, we'll go see exactly what the Great Deku Tree wanted of us. As always, I'm Brad. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.